ISIS releases a new propaganda video. You're watching a segment of it here now. It features jihadists threatening another 9/11 and voicing their desire to, quote, burn America. The video being a sort of highlight reel from some of the attacks the terror group has been involved in. The terrorists going on to say, quote, there is no safe place for Americans anywhere on the globe. Back now on America's Forum, in terms of video output, ISIS was pretty busy this weekend.
Yeah, I would say so. That video showing militants using sledgehammers, there you see it, a bulldozer and explosives to level an ancient historic site located near the militant-held but contested city of Mosul.
That's horrible.
Heart-wrenching to see that.
Mosul, of course, the biblical city of Nineveh, where Jonah was asked to go by God. He went off to do all that with a great fish and all that happened there. So scriptural artifacts being destroyed and ISIS with an apocalyptic message. How serious should we take this? It's all part of our intelligence briefing, and we're pleased to be joined by Clare Lopez, the Vice President for Research and Analysis for the Center for Security Policy. So Clare, we hear a lot of this from ISIS. I think Americans are tempted to tune out on some of these threats. Should we?
No, we should take this very seriously. I'll recall to all of your listeners' attention a couple of declarations of jihad back in the 1990s, 1996, and then again in 1998 from Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda. And we didn't take that too seriously either. We thought that we could dismiss him. We called it a fatwa, which it wasn't. It was a declaration of war, of jihad. Now, we don't know yet that the Islamic State actually has the ability to project or direct, terror operations outside of the region. We don't know that they have that capability yet, but it's obviously that, it's obvious that they want to and that they intend to.
Clare, you're saying we should take this seriously, but how should we be reacting to it?
Well, number one, I think we have to acknowledge the Islamic State for what it is. This is an Islamic state. It's every bit Islamic. It is acting and behaving as a state. And I also think we have to acknowledge the fact that this is jihad. The ideology, the inspiration for this organization comes out of Islamic law, doctrine, and scripture. We don't have, the ability to say they're right, they're wrong, it doesn't matter. This is the enemy threat doctrine. It comes out of Islamic canon, the Islamic scriptures. We have to acknowledge that and then devise our response in response to that enemy threat doctrine. Now, obviously, there are many things we can do. Certainly, working with friends and allies in the region is one. And I do not count among friends and allies the Iranian puppet regimes of either Baghdad or Damascus. But I would count, of course, Israel, Jordan, and the Kurds.
Want to get to the whole discussion of Iran in just a second, Clare, but focusing now on ISIS. You mentioned Osama bin Laden and his announcement in the 90s that we failed to take seriously. Now with the advent of social media and all these video productions, one including really like a highlight reel, what type of message is ISIS trying to convey to us?
Well, a couple of things. And of course, as you say, they're really sophisticated with the use of social media and videos and that sort of thing. What they're trying to convey is that they're a serious threat, that we need to take them seriously. It's also, by the way, an invitation to Islam. People don't get this part. This is the call to Islam, just the same as Muhammad when he approached the farming Jewish community of Khaybar, which farmed date palms way back in the 600s. And he called them to Islam. They did not come. Then he attacked. There is no dawah without jihad behind it. This is the call to Islam. We refuse it, and then comes jihad. So we have to keep that in mind. This is, again, going back to why we need to understand this doctrine, but then assess things realistically. The most serious threat probably from the Islamic State right now are all these jihadis with passports, as I would call them, travel documents from Western Europe, Australia, Canada, and the United States, who can travel back and forth because they've got papers, they've got passports, citizenship. We cannot possibly, with the best intentions and all the professionalism of our security services, keep track of all these guys.
Claire, in the few minutes we have remaining, we want to switch gears now to Iran, and more specifically, the Iran deal. Secretary of State John Kerry was on CBS Face the Nation yesterday, and he's asking everyone for patience. Take a listen. We want to get your reaction.
It's also important to note that we have 2.5 more months to negotiate. So this is not finalized. This is an outline, parameters, and most people are very surprised by the depth and breadth and detail of these parameters, and it went well beyond what they expected. We've earned the right to be able to try to complete this without interference and certainly without partisan politics.
So we're going to ask you, has the administration earned that right, as Kerry suggested?
Look, this whole thing is a kabuki dance. Iran already has warheads. It's already tested the triggers on those warheads. And we know that because the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, has reported that years ago. So all of this negotiation about these places like Natanz and Arak that are already public and in the public domain, if you will, it's a kabuki dance. The real program has withdrawn many years ago behind a closed wall of secrecy. The actual Iranian nuclear program is clandestine. We have no idea where it is, how many warheads, or how soon they're going to be ready to launch any of them.
And mindful
All
of that,
this
Claire,
is
forgive me, but just about
theater.
a minute left. I need to get to this topic. Kerry was asking for patience, but Defense Secretary Ashton Carter said over the weekend that the bunker-buster bombs are, quote, ready to go. Is that part of the kabuki dance, or are we serious about being able to combat the Iranian threat? 30 seconds.
You know, I mean, I think our military obviously is ready for whatever they may be called upon to do. But it's hard to imagine that this administration of Obama and Secretary of State Kerry would even consider a military option against the Iranian nuclear weapons program at this point.
Clare Lopez, we thank you very much for your insights and analysis, and we will talk to you again in the days ahead. Right now, let's take time out for a Newsmax National Weather Update with Jessica Reyes.
This weather is sponsored by eVoice. Simple, affordable, better. Hi, I'm Jessica Reyes with your weather from coast to coast. We're going to start off with the good news. Warm and dry across the four corners with mainly sunny skies into Bakersfield and Flagstaff, Arizona as well. Not so much the further eastward we move because we're dealing with showers and thunderstorms and lots of it. Localized flood threat, a lot of road closures as you step out today into parts of Texas, into parts of the Gulf of Mexico, pretty much across most of the eastern portion of the country. So take it easy as you head out. Again, even into parts of Florida, not so much across southern portions of the state where it's mainly sunny, especially into parts of Miami. So if you're heading out, that's a good place to be today. Across the northeast for today, across the Atlantic coastline, and mainly sunny with daytime highs feeling very spring-like in the 60s, even into the 70s with partly sunny skies in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. Here are some of your daytime highs.
Our thanks to Jessica. I don't know if it's contagious via the weather report, but I've got that little spring thing too.
Yeah, it's spring in the air. Everyone's getting, allergies and sinus issues, and my husband was dealing with it over the weekend. Now you're dealing with it.
Well, hopefully it's not contagious. But
Temporary. Yeah, hopefully not.
Hillary Clinton hopes that enthusiasm for her campaign is contagious, but some of us want to avoid it like the plague. Coming up, our pal John Fund on America's Forum.